Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
How well do you know the people on your team? I mean, do you really know them? If not, you actually may have an opportunity to really level up your performance, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And Mark, we've been talking about this idea of pursuing genuine community, and you gave us this definition a couple of days ago. The first thing you said was it's a place where people know each other and are known. And I got this sneaky suspicion that there are a bunch of people sitting around a lot of tables that don't really know each other. I mean, you don't have to know somebody fully, but I'm talking like it is a opportunity for us to build community that we've been talking about if we really do get to know each other. One of the things that's been so cool for me is to get to know you for the last, 15 years or so. It's been so fun. I think teams have an opportunity here to make some progress. So we're gonna dive into that today. So good to see you, man.
It's good to see you. Yeah, I love this topic for a couple of reasons. It's actually easy. Now, it requires some intentionality and a little bit of discipline, but it's not difficult, which going back to our previous episode where we said a leader has to say, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, but it pays huge, huge dividends. In fact, I'll share a quick story about a coach some of you've heard of. His name was Lou Holtz. His name is Lou Holtz, and won a national championship at Notre Dame. Gosh, that's probably 25 years ago.
Been a while.
It's been a while, but was a great coach, had a storied career. And he was a big fan of community. And I've had some time with him to talk about it. He didn't call it that, but he stumbled upon the things that we're talking about and began to incorporate them into his program. And to the point of knowing and being known, one of his practices was he had each player tell their story to the entire team. Well, I found an interview from a player who was in the room. And I thought he summed it up really nicely. He said, it's really hard to give up on someone once you know their story.
Yeah, that's so good.
I think that's one reason this is such a powerful idea. I'm not going to give up on you because I know your story.
Yeah, and I think that's the place to start. If somebody's sitting there listening going, what do we do? Like, how do you get to know somebody? It's like, let's just start with that.
Yeah.
Let's start with their story. So I've heard John Gordon. John Gordon's an author. I heard him we were doing an event together a while back, and John did this thing I thought was really good. He said he had the audience pick one of the three following. It's another good little idea here: hero, highlight, or hardship. And here's what he said. He said, go back to when you were in high school. Think about who your hero was. What was one of the highlights of growing up where you grew up, or what was one of the hardships you faced? Don't pick all three. Just pick one. And he had everybody in the room do this and then partner up and share with somebody, share your hero, share your highlight, or share your hardship. Just one of the three, 90 seconds each. And all of a sudden, I know you loved Batman, or I know your hero was Mickey Mantle, or it was Joe Montana, or whatever. I mean, you got all of a sudden when you start to know where somebody came from, where they grew up, what was it like? Maybe you went through something really hard, or your parents split up, or all this stuff, you begin to get to know people. You do that over time and put some focused questions like that on the table. Go back. I've had people, they'll go back to their hometown and take people with them. I remember when my dad passed away, all you guys showed up in my hometown at his funeral, which was really cool. And you got a little bit of flavor of where I came from and all that. And by the way, I heard you guys stopped and got donuts on the way home.
We did. We missed you.
And my dad would have loved that too. And I did miss that. Heard y'all hit the Krispy Kreme, which was his favorite. So that was kind of cool. But I think going and seeing where people grew up and are having conversations about where they went to school, and there's so much diversity and experience and background stuff that it's just really easy. But you said yesterday, we got to do this over time.
Yeah, it's cumulative over time.
It is. And so you don't have to do all this at your next meeting.
You said the John Gordon thing was 90 seconds.
What
if your next meeting you did that?
Yeah.
It's like.
Exactly. And that could be 25. That 25%.
Part of that 25% is not performance management.
Exactly.
Is building community.
Yeah,
so you're together for an hour. 15 minutes of it could be devoted to building community.
Yeah. And it can be as simple as, hey, what'd you do on the weekend? And what's going on in your family this week? Or what's going on? We talked about winning at home. there's nothing. I heard somebody say one time, check your heart at the door. Don't bring that stuff in here. Well, they do check their heart at the door if you do that, and their engagement goes with it. It's like, I think when we really care about people outside of work, we always say you can't demonstrate care unless you care. One of the leader's responsibilities is to demonstrate care, to create a culture of care, and if you do that, it does accelerate engagement, which leads to higher performance ultimately.
And it's know and be known. So you mentioned in a previous episode, the leader's got to be vulnerable. I just don't get to know my people. They need to get to know me.
Right.
I've also had a leader tell me that he had a great relationship with each member of his team. And I said, fantastic. Don't mistake that for community. He said, well, what is it? I said, well, you've got a great relationship with your team.
Yeah.
He said, community is when they have that relationship with each other. Now, you're in that circle if you choose to be in that circle, but it's not one-on-one. It's a group identity.
Yeah, you're growing relationship. A common unity as community. It's like you've got this, we've all agreed together that we're going to be together. And I think there's huge stuff. And it starts with knowing each other, really.
Yeah, it is the cornerstone. And we've mentioned a couple of questions. I would just encourage you that questions are a great mechanism. My counsel would be don't ask too many hard questions. I would even say don't ask any hard questions in the beginning because these folks are strangers.
Right, exactly.
They don't know each other, at least at the level we're talking about.
That's right.
Ask them about their favorite food and ask them about their favorite movie.
If you could travel anywhere, where would you want to go?
And what happens, again, it's cumulative over time. And people will say, oh, well, I like that movie, or I've never seen that movie. I'm going to watch it. And now we've got something in common. We can talk about it because I watched your favorite movie.
I was on a team with a guy, and we were talking, and in the meeting, some of these kind of questions came up, and I said something about wanting to go to Alaska, and this guy had a list of all the places in Alaska to go. He'd go visit here, go visit. And I did end up getting to go, and I went to all the places he said, and it just, again, I thought when I was there, he went here, and there's just a little bit of that. You can do things together as a team as well. Let's say that somebody on our team has a kid, and they're playing in their first T-ball game. Do we have to go to that? Maybe you should.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
But you could.
Maybe you could. And I know you can't go to everybody's T-ball game. Here's my fear. If I don't even know you have a kid,
that's the bigger problem.
That's the bigger problem. And I think that's what happens. We just go, well, this is just too hard to know people, and you don't have to have dinner with everybody every night, but you could think about this a little bit differently if you'll give some focus to it.
I joined a meeting one day just as a guest, someone else's meeting, and they gave me a couple of minutes, and I said, well, I'd like to know a little bit about you. So I said, everybody, tell me something about you that I might find interesting. And the second person said, well, my brother is a Marine, and he's being deployed to Afghanistan tomorrow.
Wow.
And nobody else in the room knew that.
Probably didn't even know I had a brother.
Nor that she had a brother that was a Marine. It's like this team had been together a long time.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that you would hope, you would think, if they were building community, you'd know that.
And you found out because you asked one simple question. I mean, it's just such low-hanging fruit here for anybody that's not been pursuing this. It starts with knowing and being known. There's another element of it. A couple more we'll talk about. Serving. We're going to get into that tomorrow. But is it possible that your team really is not together because you don't know each other? If so, I encourage you today to know the people around your table, let them know each other, and let them get to know you. You got to be vulnerable to do this. You got to make this decision that you're going to be together. If you'll do that, I think you're going to be really surprised at not only where you're going to get to, but how much fun it's going to be along the way to know that you're going with people that you know. It really is a huge opportunity for a lot of us to grow in this area, but probably for all of us to grow in this area. I hope you'll continue to make progress as we chase this genuine community mindset together. All right, remember, the best leaders lead every day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.